Hey DIYers, Maria here from Deck the Halls DIY Studio, and cleaning up my brush that rolled around here, but I'm going to give you a tutorial on the graduation gnome. Super cute. I'm showing you the back side because this is what it will look like when it comes to you in your kit. You'll have all of the cutout pieces which will fit perfectly on the gnome. So this is the gnome cutout, and it's thick so that he can stand on his own, which is super great. Okay, so when you get your project, you can take the tape off of your pieces, okay? And we'll paint this guy last because you'll want to paint your edges, but you won't need to paint him on top at all because all of these pieces are going to fit on top of your gnome. Okay, so you'll take your tape, and I wouldn't crumple it up because you may want to reuse this tape, and I'll show you how you might want to use it when you're creating. So if you peel it all off, you'll see all of the pieces, and you might just want to take a look, and you should have the picture that started the video to give you an idea of what each piece is. But this is his hat, and you'll paint the entire hat. So this is my outline here. I'm gonna use red as my accent color, so my outline part will be red. And then all of the inside pieces for me are gonna be black. These are his hands that hold the diploma. This will be his nose, which will go right over to the top. Here's his beard, and then his shoes. Okay, so I'm gonna pick this up. Now this is garbage. Okay. And then you'll want to pull these apart. So I'm painting these black. I'm going to paint his feet black, so I'm going to put those aside. These three pieces, I'll be using this flesh color. His beard, I'm going to paint white with maybe some black, maybe some gray. The diploma, I'll be painting white with red. And then this part I'll be painting red. So I'm going to lay that all out for myself so I can see how we're going to do this. Now, again, you're going to use this later. So you'll see that all of these pieces, I should probably start like this. All of these pieces are going to fit on here. So if you want to paint this a color, you can kind of think about, do I want to glue it on and then paint? Which might be a nice idea if you want the transitions to be the same. So if you want this part up here to be black for the hat, and then whitish gray or whatever color you paint his beard, and then black around here, you could do that as well. So my gnome is gonna go off to the side, and then I will lay these out so I have a little bit more room, and we'll talk about how we paint. So you'll get your paint cup with a sponge, and you do not need a lot of paint. Not a lot at all. Thickness of tissue paper. So you can kind of see some puddling of paint on there. You're gonna always wanna put paint on and then dab it off, okay? And then you can grab your piece and you're just going to dab. Now you don't have to dab hard. You don't have to really force the paint. And really nice thin coats because then it will dry quicker, okay? And I would encourage you to just dab. Now the edges of these pieces are lasered, so they're burnt edges. You don't have to paint the edges, which is a beautiful thing. I just hold on the sides to dab. Now you'll repeat the same process with all of your pieces, but with pieces that are smaller, like this is where it's kind of fun. If you kept the tape, you can put your shoes on the tape, and now you can hold the tape and not the shoes while you dab the paint. Okay, because the tape is just holding them down so that you can dab without getting paint all over your hands. Now you could certainly throw like this piece on there as well if you want and dab. I'm still using the paint from the first time I dabbed it. So you can see that the paint will go a long way, which is why you do not have a lot of paint in your paint cups. Okay, so you'll want to let all of these pieces dry, and like I said earlier, you'll paint all of them the same way. I just want to show you how to paint the diploma, or a way to paint the diploma before we kind of go on to the next pieces. I'm going to start with my white. So again, I'm getting paint on, dabbing it off. And this might be another one that would be nice to have the tape on. So I'll put my diploma on the tape. Okay. And then I'm actually going to paint the entire diploma white because red will show up brighter if it's over the top of the white. The white will be that base coat. So I'm going to paint this the way I would like it to be, because then I'm going to come in with my detail brush, which you can see sitting right here, and I'm going to use the red to do my outline pieces. You'll also notice that this is scored, so you don't want to push paint into those grooves or you'll lose those lines. So just dab it lightly, not a lot of paint. Okay, paint it to your liking, and then once it's dry, this is where my patience will have to kick in. Once it's dry, then I can come back with my detail brush and I'll outline those lines in red. Okay? Okay, so I have all my pieces, and I apologize, but the time lapse did not time lapse. So I will just kind of walk through all my pieces here. So the hat outline, I just dabbed like I showed you before, because your pieces are going to fit inside. The beard, I painted white, and I decided I wanted a little bit of the black or gray in it, so I took my sponge, no paint on it, because it already had paint on it from painting the black pieces, and I just kind of pulled it down to stripe it a little bit, and then added some more white until it became what I liked. So it's paint. Continue to add paint until you're happy with the look. The diploma, remember I painted it white, and then I took my little detail brush and I just started adding paint to each of these little parts, and I did completely fill in each spot. Okay, so there's my diploma, and then I did dab paint on these. So you'll see that I did use my tape to hold down my pieces. Now once everything is dry, you can bring all of your pieces together, and I would recommend laying it all out because it will fit together like a puzzle. Okay, so it's good to have your puzzle fit before you glue it all down. So I'm gonna put it all together, and he is so cute. Make sure I painted the pieces the correct way because I have the most difficulty putting the feet together. There we go. It wasn't that tricky this time. Oh, and you guys can't see that. So 1 second. I like to have baby wipes on hand, so I will just do this to cover up my paint so I don't get the back of him in paint. All right, now I believe we're on camera. Okay, so I'll put his feet on there. And then you'll have your nose, and then his hands. I believe the diploma will go this way, so then you'll want to make sure you fit your hands in, just like so. He's holding his diploma. Now this hat would also be really cute if you wanted to add like the year, so 2021 if you wanted, or someone's name. You can always write it on there. It's kind of a nice keepsake. I would then glue all of these pieces down. So included in your kit will be your glue. Okay, and so maybe you start with this one. And this is super glue. So if it sticks to your fingers and your fingers stick together, they will be glued together. So please be careful with it. And I'm just going around the edges lightly. Okay. And I'm gonna leave my other pieces there. And so now you're just gonna put your gnome together. Okay, so here's your gnome. He's all painted, put together. I would let him sit for a minute to ensure that all of the pieces stay glued, okay, and set. Then you're gonna wanna take a look at your side. you can grab your detail brush again. You might want to paint all of it black. I think I'm gonna try to do sections of it. So I think I'll do black up top here, and then I will stop right here, and then I'll do white for around the spots of his beard. And I'm just gonna use my detail brush. I could also use my sponge, and if you want to just run your sponge along the side, that works very well too. The detail brush will be there. Now, you can always take your detail brush and wipe it off on a baby wipe or a damp paper towel, and then change your color out to be able to paint along the edges and other places. Okay, so you can always do that if you need, if you prefer to paint with the detail brush instead of the sponge. The sponge is also a great tool to use to be painting with. Okay, so let's paint the sides and then check back with our finished project. Okay, so now you just saw me paint my edges. I like my edges painted. I think that makes it look more complete. Your gnome is ready. Looks awesome. Be sure to share with us on our social media pages, Deck the Halls DIY Studio. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and we love it if you would use the hashtag Deck the Halls DIY Studio and Deck DIY with DTH. Those would be our two hashtags that we love to see. And if you didn't know, hashtags are super cool because when you have a hashtag, you can search that hashtag or click on that hashtag when you go to a post, and all other posts with that hashtag will show up. So it's kind of fun. We want to see your gnomes. We want to see what colors you chose to use. So share it with us on social media, and we'll DIY with you soon.